Good evening and good evening and welcome to the Walter Reed Theatre and to the 41st edition of New Directors, New Films. My name is Gavin Smith. I'm one of the 6 members of the selection committee this year, and I'm very happy to be with you this evening for this screening of a wonderful and provocative new film from the Netherlands called Hemel. I'm kind of a sucker for father-daughter movies. I don't think there are enough of them out there, and this fits into that category. But it's a father-daughter movie with a difference. So without more ado, I'd like you to welcome its director, Sacha Polak.
Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you all for coming, and I hope to see you afterwards for the Q&A.
Please welcome back director Sacha Polak.
Hello.
I found watching the film the second time just as compelling as the first time, and I was trying to analyze what was really so kind of electrifying about the film, and I realized that what I was trying to do throughout the film and what kept me intensely engaged was my effort to understand this character, and she's a character who's so sort of richly, fully imagined and kind of complicated in ways that aren't explained to us through exposition. That that engagement with the character was a really kind of really intense one, and it's an experience that you don't often have when you go to the movies. Normally you're being told a story and you follow the story. Here it was more about, I felt more like I was trying to, as I say, struggle to kind of make sense of somebody who is probably also in the throes of trying to understand herself. So it's a very complicated experience. So I wonder if you could talk about how this project came together. I know that you were working with a writer. I'm curious as to whether you arrived at this character and this material together, or whether it was delivered to you and then it was your job to interpret it.
No, I made a short film about a girl, a different girl, and the writer of this film came to me and asked me to do a long film, a feature film about a girl, about actually the girl that was in the short film. And I really wanted to do something about a father and a daughter. I was raised by my father alone, so that was something important for me to tell. I have a very different relationship with my father, but still I wanted to do something about a father and a daughter. So in Holland we have this project, it's called the Oversteek, and you can develop a film through government finance, but you start with only the synopsis and then you develop it to a treatment, and then it's a sort of a competition. So
what was the synopsis?
The synopsis was actually, well, I think the synopsis was the storyline. It was 8 chapters about this girl, and yeah, was a lot alike. Yeah.
The actual development of this character, the character of Hemel, was that developed through conversations with the writer, or could you talk about that? How she emerges from, I mean, being just a blank page, you know?
Yeah. Well, in the short film, I had this girl looking in front of the mirror, and having dialogues with imaginary men. And she talks a lot in the mirror. And so for this feature film, we were wondering what would the girl in the mirror in the short film, which you all haven't seen, so it's a bit complicated, do if she would go to a bar and go to a man and say these things that the girl in the short film says in the mirror to real men. So from that idea, this character came actually, and I think she was even more harsh in the script, or yeah, she spoke, said more horrible things to men. Yeah.
Was there some outside reference point? Was there somebody that perhaps inspired this, or maybe even a composite of a number of people who inspired this character?
There wasn't one, but I think the film is really about now, and maybe I don't know how it's in America, but I think I have a numerous of girlfriends who have similarities to Hemel, and I don't know how the film is for you, because maybe she's a typical Dutch girl. I mean, even though she's not typical Dutch because she's extreme, but she's really open, and or really, I mean, she says what she thinks, and is really provocative, and so I think maybe there's some Dutchness in that as well.
I mean, this characteristic of her saying what she always thinks could be interpreted. In fact, people maybe in the US more than anywhere else might interpret a lot of her behavior as pathological, as being symptoms of some disorder.
Well, I don't think she's ill. I mean, she's a bit strange, but I think everything will work out fine after the end, but that's just my opinion.
It's a happy ending.
For me, it's a happy ending, yeah. Yeah, but I know people differ with me, so.
I think I think the film is kind of radically ambiguous all the way through as to how you're supposed to take things. Obviously, another term enters the equation, which is the actress who plays her. It's an extraordinary performance, incredibly committed performance. It's the kind of commitment you don't often see, especially by somebody who I think is really at the start of her career. I mean, it could kind of define her career in a way. Once you arrived at this particular person to play the part, was there then a kind of a collaboration between you and her and the writer to further develop things, or was she essentially just given a character to inhabit? And then could you talk about that process?
Well, we didn't go back to the writing table after I casted her, but it was more like Hannah and I talked a lot about who Hemel was and what she would do before scenes. We didn't rehearse any of the scenes that are in the film, but we just talked a lot about our personal lives, and really got to know each other. Also, she knew the father actor very well, because he's the father of her best friend, so they knew each other very well. So that was very good at the beginning, and we just talked a lot and made up scenes, and that's what we did.
In America, an American actor playing this part might be constantly asking the director, "What's my motivation? You know, what do I want in this scene, or what is it that I'm trying to get?" Was that kind of dialogue? Would that kind of dialogue have been perhaps in a way a little counterproductive?
No, we did that a lot, but I asked her a lot what she was doing and why she was doing it. I mean, I let her...
You didn't supply her with the answers?
No, I just asked her a lot of questions, and she came up with the answers, and I think she made up Hemel also. I mean, I always work with the person I have. I don't direct in a way that I want them to fit exactly the role. I mean, they have a lot of freedom as well.
I want to ask a kind of, I guess, a question that's slightly changing the subject, and that is something about the music in the film. The first thing you hear in the film is this kind of electronic music, kind of a pulse and a beeping sound and a clicking sound. And it's a very minimal kind of piece of music that recurs throughout the film. And it seems as though in the film it is offset, or it's juxtaposed at times by very classical music that's very emotionally full. And there's a very important scene, I guess almost in the middle of the film, where she's attending a concert and something happens to her. So I wonder if you could talk about the role of music. That's okay.
Sorry, I'm a bit ill. My boyfriend made the music of the film, and also the actor, Gijs, who plays trumpet. He is a trumpet player in real life also. So I really wanted to put trumpet music in the film and make Hemel think of her father, like it's in the music as well. And the opera came actually afterwards. We shot a lot of the film and we thought maybe we needed something else in the middle. So that was the last shooting day of the film actually. We thought, let's go to this opera concert house, and the piano player is very famous actually in Holland, and we wanted to have like a backstory that this was a kind of thing that they used to do together. That's her background, because she can be very childish, but she had this these things she used to do with her father that gave her something of a high culture in her life, and also what else can I say about it?
What about the electronic music, the role of that?
Well, we just wanted something very minimal and very. I really liked that it stops, and also the film is very fragmented. So that was something I really wanted. That to let it stop and begin again, and stop and begin again.
Okay, time for some questions from out there. Any questions? Yeah.
So, as you developed the concept and the script, how did you see the character evolving? Was the ending always there, or was there a process by which the sections framed themselves and then changed or maybe moved around?
The question's about the development of the script and whether the ending was always kind of set, and was it a process of evolution, or were things worked out from scene to scene in the writing?
I think scenes worked out from scene to scene. I mean, the beginning of the film, I always wanted to have two people in a bed and just talk. So that was something which was very clear, and we always wanted to have like fragments of a girl's life. So it would be like, you were in a photo album looking, or maybe talking to somebody and just taking pieces of the person. And this ending was always this ending, though. Yeah. It used to be that it was like we would follow 1 year of this girl's life, but that wasn't possible because I wanted to have these actors and my crew. That was very important for me because I really like to work with this DOP and this art director and all the people. So I had to shoot in 18 days after each other, and so I couldn't get like the year, but I really wanted to have like rain, and also the episode in Spain used to be in Budapest in the script, but I thought that would be like too dramatic. The city is very dramatic and dark, and it was winter, so I really wanted sun. So we looked in Europe, where is there sun in the winter, and that was Spain. So that changed then.
More questions? Yes. Question about the challenges involved in shooting the more intimate scenes, especially, I guess the first scene would be the most intimate one.
Well, the first scene was actually the audition scene, but then with clothes on. So we've done that. We did that a lot of times, and I think maybe because I'm a female, that it's not that difficult to do an intimate scene with these actors. I mean, I don't find it very difficult. I mean, of course you have like a closed set, but also Hannah is very easy and she trusted me completely, so that was never a problem. And also the male actors were, I mean, they knew what they were gonna do. I mean, they read the script and we talked about it. And I mean, they had to be naked, so they knew that. And then, I mean, when you just act normal, then it is normal, I think. So.
Yes. There's a question about the visual style, and particularly the sense that a certain kind of steadiness, and that the visual style, in a way, kind of counterbalances some of the things that maybe seem bleak by giving a kind of a sense of hope. It's an interesting question.
Well, the DOP and we studied together in Film Academy, and what we wanted to do was just make really different worlds of all the chapters. So have like a totally different visual style or color, or so like the first chapter is very, very. I mean, I wouldn't want to be there in that bed. It's very horrible, and the bodies don't look nice, and we really wanted to have that horrible feeling. And the second is of course very orange, and we wanted to have that warm look, and this Algerian guy, and have actually a happy kind of feeling there. So we really looked at what specific things each chapter needed, and further we looked at a lot of pictures to choose our to make our decoupage from. But I'm not answering your question, I think.
Well, you sort of are, but you're not. Maybe you could be specific about. Let's just take the last scene.
Yeah.
What dictates the way the last scene?
Well, in the
shot?
last scene, I really wanted to have a calmness, like rest, because some parts of the film are really heavy, and the camera is moving a lot, and especially during the rape, for instance. I mean, but the last scene, she needed to calm down, so also the camera needed to calm down. I mean, I actually, in the rain, I cut a few times because we couldn't afford so much rain in the streets. So we only had like a rain machine for one block. And so I needed to cut it. But the thing is, what I wanted was her to walk like for, few minutes in the rain and just follow her, and have it very, very steady and calm. And so the last scene is very simple, actually. She's just on a couch with a lady, and there are not so many different things, and you don't see so much of the house.
Yes. Question about the relationship between the main character and her father and the intimacy there. Was it intended to perhaps have a kind of erotic quality to it?
Yes, I think. Yes, I mean, you could say Hemel is in love with her father, or I mean, the film is about they need to part because they are too close. I mean, they don't have sex or anything, but they are very close, and yeah, they need each other a lot, and yeah.
It's all in the front rows here. All the questions are coming. So you near the back. Yeah. Was her name Hemel Heaven inspired by some kind of religious belief?
No, it was. I thought because we don't know her mother, and I don't believe that this father would call his daughter Hemel or Heaven. So I think this is what you get from the mother. For me, her mother was this hippie woman who named her daughter Heaven, and so that's something that I think of then.
Is your hand up or is it just you in the corner? Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think we all heard, but how is the woman at the end related to her?
Well, she's married to the guy that Hemel has an affair with or really falls in love with, and also you could say that she had something in the past with her father, but we don't really know that. So that's she's not the mother, no, but she is some kind of a mother figure, you could say. I didn't understand that.
You found it very what?
Complicated. Yeah.
Okay, now we'll go back to the front. Yeah.
I love the movie in general, but there's that one moment when they talk about what love is for each other, and for him it was, I feel love basically when I don't feel I have to hide anything anymore. She said, love for me is when I want to figure everything out about that person, and just as a guy, I can completely relate to that in terms of how I feel in relations with women. I guess earlier you had said her sexual activity, that women like this, and that you had talked to people here, and you felt that they were surprised that they thought she was very sick, and you thought that she wasn't very sick. So I thought a lot of what she was doing, there were other things as well, but part of it was trying to pattern herself after her father, because there was no mother in the picture, and that somehow, because he's a male and she's a female, then inherently there are differences that make it perhaps, it's a little risky to say this kind of stuff here, I think, in the US, but there are differences, between the two. And I was wondering if you felt that, I'm not saying that you condoned or felt that the behavior was wrong to be sexually promiscuous as she was, but whether it worked for her. Because to me, it really was because there were differences.
I don't think I can paraphrase the whole thing, but I think that the final point here was that Hemel's what you might call promiscuous behavior, was that something that actually was working for her, or was it harmful?
Yeah, for me it's harmful for her because it's very empty for her, and of course she sees her father and does the same thing, and yeah, but it's the way she has sex with these men, or the way. I mean, she's looking for men that I mean, she's looking to hurt herself. So she's really, yeah. I mean, she's not looking for a sweet guy who would be who wanted to be her boyfriend or anything. I mean, she's looking to get raped, for instance. I mean, I feel like she's really looking for danger, and so it's not good for her, no.
Yeah.
Was it intentional, or I'm just imagining that? So the film, you have a music, almost like a sound of, soundtrack of emergency room, or something is sticking in expectation of suicide, because through the film you understand there is some past, and then there's the building and suggestion somebody is falling. Is was intentional or was imagined?
Another coming back to the question of the electronic music in the film, that it has a quality of being like the sound of an emergency room, of having a kind of a medical or emergency kind of quality to it.
Yeah, that was intentional, but it also is for me like a telephone call and waiting and not being answered and all those kind of things. But suicide is, of course, I mean, Hemel's mother committed suicide, and she stands on the rooftop and also is thinking about suicide, or knows that her mother committed suicide. So that are things that I play with in the film.
It's clinically depressed, so it's naturally you
Yeah.
come to conclusion there is some expectation of something to happen, but it's not your intention to lead to this what it's going to happen. It's just to leave it alone, and as its mother or father or something else, and leave it to us to determine.
Well, that's, you know, to pick up on something you're saying, this viewer describes her as clinically depressed. That was sort of what I was getting at before when I said that the the impulse of maybe an American audience would be to try and diagnose her problem in medical terms. Did you ever feel that were you actually trying to evade that kind of categorization of her predicament?
I don't look at her as clinical depressed. I look at her as a girl who has a very rough time and really hurts herself, even physically in her body. She's very thin, and she stands on a rooftop. Of course, she's not really happy at the moment. But I don't know. I won't call her anything. I don't want to, as a director. So you can call her whatever you want, and
Yes, you.
The final scene where her nose bleeds, is there some symbolism to that, or is that just a way to wrap up the film?
What's the significance of her nose bleeding at the end?
it is, for me, it's like she cries and everything just needs to get out, and finally, because she is not crying in the film. She's just forcing herself to do these things and hurting herself and herself, and at the end it all just comes out, and finally she can just hold somebody. So
All the way in the back.
Thank you for a very layered, psychologically complex script and film. How has this film been received in Holland itself?
it's not yet, not
It
yet.
has not been seen.
No, it will premiere next Thursday. So
Well, given that there is a different moral and political climate in your country, and that in some ways one could see the way the woman is depicted in this film as being reflective of that climate, how do you see that your fellow critics are going to look at this film with a different morality that exists politically in your country compared to, let's say, 30 years ago?
whoa.
That's all yours.
I think in Holland they say that there's a lot of sex, for instance, in film, a lot of nakedness that they don't especially like, but used to be like to sell the film, and I don't think in this film it sells very well. I mean, it's very horrible and not so nice, and nakedness and sex, and yeah, I'm really curious what they will say or think. Actually, that's the only thing I can say. I mean, it's screened in Berlin in the film festival, and
What was the reaction there critically?
Well, it won the Vipracci Award, so I think good.
Okay, now there's an avalanche of questions. Yes, you.
My question is about, first of all, during the writing process, did you do any research at all, or was it very organic in that it was your and the writer's experience and intuition? And then how involved were you in the editing process?
Well, the writing was very organic, and I mean, some people compare this to Shame. Well, I haven't seen Shame yet, but I know Steve McQueen did research through for sex addicts and all those kinds of things. Well, I didn't do any research for that, and so this was she was made up organically, and I was very involved in the editing. I don't know. I heard that sometimes directors in America, but maybe that's only in commercials or so, don't go to the editing room, but we edited this for 2 months or something every day.
Somebody new, you.
I really enjoyed the scene with her half brother, and I thought it really added a lot of depth to, well, not just her character, but actually the whole thinking behind, the world that you created. At what point did the idea to have kind of fundamentalist Christians that were somehow related to her, which in Europe is even more, like they're kind of marginalized even more than they are in a place like New York City, but they do represent a large stream of American life, such as what I came from, and it really resonated with me.
Mm.
Where did that?
It's a good question about the scene involving the half brother and the introduction of characters who have a kind of a Christian fundamentalist kind of point of view, and that really resonated for this viewer. And I guess you're interested. The question is, how did that come? How did that come into the film? What made you bring that into the film?
Well, part of it is that I have ex-step brother myself, so that was one idea that there was this kind of lost family member that was very sweet and loving, and I just wanted to have like a very big contrast to the way she was feeling and the way she was. Like the biggest contrast there was possibly there. So that's why we made them, these Christians and very soft and very lovable people, and everything would be all right there. And she just hates it at that moment, and she just wants to kill them, I think. So that's how we thought of that, and
Yes.
I found one of the most moving scenes where she looked like somebody that wanted a connection. She wanted some kind of tenderness. She wanted love. And the sex scenes were not that. It was the scene of her after the sex with the gentleman on the beach, and her with the woman at the end, and also listening to the music with her father. It was a sense that she was searching for love and tenderness. Did you talk to her?
Just a comment really about this viewer felt that this was a character who was really searching for connection, and there are moments of connection that you see in the film, but then they aren't the scenes involving sex. They're the scenes involving kind of quieter moments with the lover on the beach, the concert, scenes like that.
I think the sex scenes are also, you can see that she's looking and searching and not finding, and I think they're very honest. You can see a lot of two people, how they have sex or how they have contact, but the other scenes are much sweeter. They're just, I mean, you can see a different side of her, and the side that she really is looking for love. I don't know what to say anymore.
We'll take one last question from somebody new. You, go ahead.
That image in the first scene where he spits in her mouth, it's very specific, very vivid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, why that particular choice? I mean, how did it evolve? Did that come from?
Yeah, question about the first scene and the image of the guy spitting into the main character's mouth.
We thought of actually there was a bit before this, a bit scripted before what you see now, and that was like the first question would be, if I had my period, would you have had sex with me now? That was the first question of the film, but it's not in the film anymore. So there was something that we found funny of body fluids, like also, I mean, the bleeding at the end and crying and peeing, and it was like, yeah, she is in this phase that is, yeah, she finds that funny, and we thought it was funny as well. It was not so funny for the actress because she. I mean, she asked, or I asked her, do you want real spit or fake spit? I mean, it doesn't really matter because he's gonna spit it in your mouth anyway. So she said, no, let's have real spit. So now we did this like 13 times or something.
I don't really know what to say about that, but I think we have to call it a night. Thanks everyone for coming, and thanks to Sacha.
Thank you.